Hello everyone, today in this short video we are going to learn about the fate of acetyl-CoA in fasting state and fed state respectively. Now this is going to be like a 12 to 15 minutes video and the concept is so beautiful that everything will connect. Okay guys, let's start. First of all, acetyl-CoA is a 2 carbon compound, and generally we know that this is our intestine. These are villi, which increases the surface area for absorption. So basically what happens is that fat are absorbed in the form of chylomicron lipoproteins into our blood vessels. And inside our blood vessel, adherent to the endothelial wall, we have our lipoprotein lipase, and this adherence to the wall is via heparan sulfate, that is an glycosaminoglycan. Okay, so basically what happens is that when this chylomicron is moving through the circulation, then LPL acts on it, and basically the triacylglycerides are broken down into fatty acids, and then these fatty acids are stored into adipocytes, and in these adipocytes the re-esterification of fatty acid take place and it forms TAG, or again it forms triacylglyceride. And here another hormone comes into action, that is our hormone sensitive lipase, which again break down these triacylglycerol into fatty acids. Now this hormone sensitive lipase, this hormone sensitive lipase is inhibited by the insulin and it's promoted by glucagon. We know that insulin is our hormone of fed state and glucagon is our hormone of fasting state. Glucagon causes phosphorylation and insulin causes dephosphorylation. It means that the glucagon will activate adenyl cyclase enzyme. It means it will promote the conversion of AMP to CAMP form. And on the other hand, this insulin causes dephosphorylation. It will activate phosphodiesterase enzyme, which will cause the breakdown of CAMP and form AMP more. Okay, so now what happens to these fatty acids is that they enter the beta oxidation cycle and then they form acetyl-CoA. And now this is basically we have to study about the fate of acetyl-CoA from here. First of all, that is like the fed state. Okay, so what happens in fed state? Anabolic processes will be promoted, like fatty acid synthesis. This acetyl-CoA can enter fatty acid synthesis, and another, we know that this acetyl-CoA, the 2 carbon compound, goes condensation with oxaloacetate, a 4 carbon compound, and this forms the 6 carbon compound or citric acid. And this is the first step of our TCA, tricarboxylic acid cycle or Krebs cycle. Either this acetyl-CoA can enter the TCA. Okay, that is about the fed state, that even pyruvate, this pyruvate by an enzyme complex PDH, also called pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, it will form acetyl CoA, and then this acetyl CoA with condense with oxaloacetic acid to form citric acid. That is the first step of TCA cycle or Krebs cycle, which is an amphibolic pathway. Okay, this was about the fed state. Now in the fasting state, either basically this acetyl CoA, this was the first fate. Okay, it can go to fatty acid synthesis, second fate TCA, and thirdly this acetyl CoA can be used for ketone body synthesis. Ketone body synthesis. Now ketone bodies, these ketone bodies are not synthesized in the RBC even in the starvation state because they lack mitochondria, even for the brain and heart respectively. Okay, so let's see brain and heart case. In the general state, in the fed state, brain source of glucose, brain source of energy is glucose, and heart generally its primary source is fatty acids. And like in the fasting state, brain store is still glucose. The heart can also shift to glucose. And in the starvation state, however, in the starvation state, both of them are adapted to use ketone bodies to a certain ketone bodies. Okay, basically we know that why there are so many hyperglycemic hormone, but hypoglycemic hormone is only one, that is insulin. The reason to this is that hypoglycemia is more dangerous than hyperglycemia. This is like danger. The reason is because brain for most part it's solely dependent on glucose. If brain works, then all the centers of brain are repressed. For our respiratory center goes, and brain is very sensitive to the level of oxygen as well. So hypoglycemia is more dangerous than hyperglycemia. Okay, anyways, to back to the point. So third thing, it can go to ketone body synthesis. And the fourth thing is that this acetyl CoA do not directly enter gluconeogenesis. However, this sort of have an indirect mechanism. Okay, let's discuss that. The pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, the acetyl CoA. In the that is normal state. However, in the fasting state, this acetyl CoA will inhibit the pyruvate dehydrogenase complex and by negative feedback, and it will promote another enzyme, that is pyruvate carboxylase. Okay, and this pyruvate carboxylase, by acting on pyruvate, it will form oxaloacetate, our 4-carbon compound, and pyruvate was 3-carbon compound. It means that carboxylation was done, CO2 was added, quite as the name suggests. And this oxaloacetate, however, this acetyl CoA was not directly entering the gluconeogenesis. It cannot. But on the other hand, this oxaloacetate can enter the gluconeogenesis. That is the fourth fate. Okay guys, so basically we have studied about the fate of acetyl CoA, and we have also done like little bit concepts from here and there. So that's all. Have a nice day, and everyone keep learning, keep calm, and keep learning. Thank you, guys.